What up, Stomp Wrestling fam? It's your boy WrestleDrop, otherwise known as Ricardo, and I'm here with the 12-time amateur wrestler, amateur Springbok wrestler, the HWA World Champion, Steve Eden. Steve, how you doing?
Ricardo, doing very well. Listeners, thank you very much for joining us. It's been one of those weeks. We're busy setting up to the biggest event in South Africa, the Rand Easter Show, where HWA Honor Wrestling Association is going to be hosting 15 shows in 5 days.
Crazy. Very, very busy couple of days you have there. And I just want to start off by saying it's a real honor to have you on the channel. I mean, have a world champion on the channel, the HWA World Champion. It's a real honor. We've had other wrestlers on, but we haven't had a world champion yet. So that's great to have you on. So
yeah, what time is not everybody that can have a world title. It takes a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication. And I've been in wrestling from the age of 5. So I'm quite proud of my HWA world title, and I'm not planning on losing it soon.
We'll see. We've got a big tournament coming up, but we'll speak about that a little bit later. So you said you've been in wrestling since the age of 5. Now, how exactly did you make the transition from amateur wrestling, if there was even a transition, to professional wrestling?
Well, Ricardo, the thing is with professional wrestling, it's always a good thing to have some sort of sporting background, be it karate, kickboxing, judo, amateur wrestling. I was honored enough to be brought into the amateur wrestling by my 2 uncles, Donnie Voorges and Donnie Brits, known as the Flying Springboks or the Fighting Springboks. And, when I was 5 years old, my mom said to him, listen, she doesn't know what to do with his kid. He's just very active and just up and running the whole time. I said, just bring him to wrestling. It's the best place to be on a wrestling mat for any kid. Any rugby player out there, any sports guy, the best sport in the world that he can do is wrestling.
I suppose it's very versatile, wrestling. It keeps your core strength up, but all of those things. So you can take it into any sport that you do, like you say. It's very good side sport to do.
For sure. It's very versatile. You'll see a lot of MMA that's got an amateur background. If I do not have amateur wrestling background, I actually go and train in amateur wrestling to get the ground skills there. Rugby players like our own Springbok rugby players, most of them has done amateur wrestling. It's a good training worldwide for All Blacks, for England, Wales, all those national rugby teams. They all do some sort of grappling and wrestling training. So it's the best sport you can do.
So how does one become a 12-time Springbok amateur wrestler? Like, that's no easy thing.
No, for sure. That's like waking up 4 o'clock in the morning to go train. I used to go train every morning from 4 to 7. 7 o'clock, get the dress, head through to school, come back, train the rugby training in the afternoons from 2 to 5, head back home, put on the wrestling gear, and I'm back on a wrestling mat from 6 to 8. There was a lot of training 7 days a week and training 5 to 6 hours a day.
Suppose it was all worth it in the end, right?
No, for sure. Always to say that you had the honor of wearing the green and gold and being a Springbok. Not everybody can say that, going around. Even a professional wrestling ring, there's only a dedicated few wrestlers that can actually say they were, and, some of the top wrestlers in the country that had the honor of wearing the Springbok colors.
For sure. So we mentioned that you're a 12-time Springbok amateur wrestler. We mentioned that you're the HWA World Champion. But you're also the founder, owner, promoter, probably so many titles of HWA. Now, what goes into actually organizing a show like the Rand Show coming up from the 6th to 10th of April?
Yeah, there's a lot of that goes into organizing such a big event, and there's a lot of stress involved. I'm lucky enough to have a good management team behind me at HWA Honor Wrestling Association. There's the lighting that has to be organizing, the staging, the sound, the whole event. And then obviously the layout of a wrestling card. Wrestlers from all over the country coming to compete in the top wrestling event of the year in South Africa. We've got the Tournament of Honor, where we're going to crown the King of Africa. Last year, Mr. Money was the winner of the 2022 King of Africa, and he will be defending his title.
Oh, look who's here. Michael Lawrence Potter. As if I haven't had enough of you recently.
Decided to grace your fine Zoom call with my boss, Stephen Eden. Coming to you live from the set of, my job. I'm an actor. It's not a big deal. But thought I'd jump onto the call. Boom, boom, boom. Let me try to get somewhere more quiet. See you guys in a few minutes.
What is the format of this Tournament of Honor? Is it a round of robin? How does it work? Just for those at home wondering.
Yeah, what's going to happen? We're going to have 16 wrestlers starting. You will have a knockout phase where they're going to wrestle against each other. Winners go through to the next round, and you will have a finals, last man standing final. So the person winning the Tournament of Honor or the King of Africa will have a chance then to challenge myself, Steve Eden, for the world title, or they've got the choice to challenge Azazel for the HWA South African title.
Okay, so there's a choice there. They don't have to go for you. If they're too scared, they can step back.
If they're too scared and step in the ring with a flying springbok, they can always go and choose the dark one, Azazel.
Now, how would Michael described HWA as more of like your style, your wrestling style is more of like the NWA style in our last interview. Would you agree with that? Or do you have a different view on it?
Yeah, no, I would definitely agree with it. HWA Honor Wrestling is all about family-orientated wrestling, and it's very technical. It's very old style of wrestling, technical wrestling, hardcore wrestling. We do have our high flyers and so on, but it's more technical wrestling and storytelling, getting everybody involved. There's always a character that a person aligns with. Doesn't matter if it's a kid of 8 years old or it's a grandparent of 70 odd years. There's always a character that they find themselves drawn to, and there's something for everybody to look forward to.
I fully agree with that. Some of this modern wrestling, I sound like an old head here now, even though I'm 22. Yeah. Some of this modern wrestling, I cry out for stories because it's just a whole bunch of flips, whole bunch of this, whole bunch of that. And I really like the fact that you guys put emphasis on the fact that there's stories, it's family orientated, anyone can watch it. That's important. Anyone can watch it. Somebody just walking past.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. You need to put out a product there that everybody can relate to.
Exactly.
And with a storytelling in a match, everybody can relate to it. And I like to every now and again take out the sandal and whip the guy on his bum, give him like a bit of a hiding, and everybody can relate to that because all of us have had a hiding when we were young. So there's a lot of storytelling involved. That's the same with a tournament as well. Everybody wants to find their character that they're buying into. Are they buying into the Ripper? Are they buying into Exterminator, Azazel? Or they're buying into Gene, the rejected clown? We even got a clown stepping in a ring that was rejected by the circus, and he's now actually decided to become a wrestler. So there's literally a character for everybody to accommodate the wrestling fans out there.
I love it. Now, obviously, HWA has headquarters or training centers in Brakpan and I think Randburg, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Or
on the Westland side, Rudderpoort to Rise.
Rudderpoort. That's
a training site here. Yes. But we're looking at opening another venue.
That was my question.
Still a bit hush at the moment. But we'll make sure that once that's announced, we'll definitely announce it on Stomp Wrestling first.
Oh, for sure. That'll be great. That was my question. Like, how are you guys looking to expand? Or are you even looking to expand? And I guess you answered it before I could even get to that. And that's great to hear because I think often places stick to their place and then they stay there. And it's good to hear that you guys are looking to branch out as far as possible.
Yeah, well, the only way to develop wrestling in South Africa and for that matter of fact in Africa is to try and accommodate everybody that want to become a wrestler. I cannot tell you how many emails and how many messages I get that, Mr. Steve, I want to start training wrestling. How can I start training wrestling? Where can I get involved? And you know what we tend to do as well, there's a couple of other promotions in South Africa. There's CPW, there's AWA, there's Mother City Wrestling as well. So there's a couple of other promotions as well. When I started HWA, I started it with the Ripper, Dirty Jackson, and Exterminator. And the first thing we did is we sat together and we said, listen, guys, we need to look for a name for this promotion. And I sat and we were thinking about it, and I said, you know what? The one thing that's been lost in the sport is the honor. I remember being a child running up to Jan Wilkins, Donnie Brits, Donnie Furkes, and Tornado One, Karate Kid, and just wanting to get their autograph. And I said to him, I want to bring that back where the children and the people around South Africa can start looking up and building idols again in the wrestling entertainment world. And that's why we actually decided on the name Honor Wrestling Association. So, for us, we're using wrestlers right over the country. Well, we've got guys coming through from AWF to wrestle. We've actually had CPW Tornado 2s wrestle on a couple of our shows. We've had guys wrestling from different promotions. We've had JDX and Crow from NWF coming to wrestle. HWA is board over South African Pro Wrestling, and that's where we started the East Rand Training Center. So for us, it's all about building the wrestling, and the people out there, they don't care if it's which promotion it is. Yes, they do have their favorite promotions, but at the end of the day, they want to see live wrestling and they want to support their different wrestlers.
I think that's 100% true. People just want to watch wrestling, and I mean, they just want to walk past and say, "Oh, here's some wrestling. Let me stay and watch." And I think it's fantastic what you guys are doing, and I really enjoy it. And I wanted to ask a question here, Steve, but I think it might get me in a bit of trouble. Is there anybody?
Well, just remember before you ask, I'm seeing you next week at the ranch show.
Yeah, I know.
So I might just have to put you ring there.
I know. Is there anybody that might win this Tournament of Honor next week at the ranch show, and then that could potentially face you, that you would be worried about facing?
You know what? We've got a very competitive bunch of guys and wrestlers by HWA and right over the country. We've got a lot of talented wrestlers. Just to give you an example, Matthew Hammer, one of our high flyers in South Africa. Matthew Hammer is going to be there. Verupa is going to be there. Exterminator is going to be there. Mr. Money is going to be there. Azazel is going to be there. There's just a phenomenal amount of talent that's going to be there. But if I have to choose and really, really think about it, I'm thinking Exterminator, the powerhouse of South African wrestling, and then, actually, I need to limit it to 3. Sorry about that. Second one, Matthew Hammer, because that youngster's got a whole lot of talent.
Matthew's great.
Yeah, he brings moves out that I haven't seen yet. And, you can never relax when you're wrestling because it's just like that and he'll take the victory from you. I mean, obviously, the brains behind South African wrestling and also the mouth of SA wrestling, Mr. Money. You can never count out Mr. Money. But there's such a huge pool of talent that can be competing. So it's very, very difficult to just limit it. But those are the 3 that I'll be worried about and that I'll keep a close eye on.
Okay. So you've said you've been doing this for a very long time. We've already discussed that. Do you see yourself on top for many years to come? Or do you think you'll start winding down a little bit?
Well, that's always a difficult question. Remember, we never think we're getting old. We always think we 18 and we as strong as we used to be as youngsters and as fast as youngsters. But in all reality, as you get older, your bodies tend to get weaker in a sense where you take longer to recover from injuries. You're a bit slower in the moves that you're doing. And I take it from when I started doing professional wrestling, and now I'm not doing half as much high-flying moves and those kind of things like I used to. I mean, I used to run up the corners and dive to the outside, not thinking about what it would do to my body. Now I do a suplex from a top rope and I think twice about what it's going to do to my body. But I reckon I probably got a good another 5 years at least in me.
Okay, that's a decent amount of time still. And obviously Michael's still in this call sitting here quietly. I think he's scared to talk. He was talking about the youngsters that are really coming through in HWA. Hence me asking that question. Who do you think could really carry the HWA territory for years to come?
Well, let's put it this way. A lot of people tend to underestimate Gene Rejected Clown. Do not think because he's wearing a clown suit that he is not a good technical wrestler. He definitely is. Azazel has proved himself as a current South African champion. The other day, him and Matt Hammer had a phenomenal match, absolutely phenomenal match, and I was standing there watching in awe. And I always appreciate a good match, and especially when it's a match where you don't know who's going to go over in the match. And in the end, Hector Payne ran into the ring and he actually interfered in the match. So I would like to see those two go at it. But there's a lot of talent. You've got Alicia from APWA, CPW, very, very good wrestler. You've got the Quinn, phenomenal wrestler. A guy that's also underestimated a lot, Fisherman Fred. You've got a lot of youngsters going around in South Africa, and there's a lot of talent. So I'm actually looking forward to retiring one day, sitting on my lounge, having a Coca-Cola like always, and maybe a Big Mac burger or something in the other hand, and watching these guys just absolutely perform and having the crowd in awe.
No, for sure. If I could put my 2 cents in for this Tournament of Honor, you said Matthew Hammer's going to be there, and I've seen Matthew live a couple times. We've got, I think, 2 or 3 interviews with him on the channel. So I think he's going to be my pick. But of course, no bias, because I will be at the event. I will be conducting some interviews, so I can't be biased. But I think that's
there's a character for everybody out there.
Oh, for sure. So I think that's my dark horse, if you could say that.
Yeah. You know what? That's the thing that I appreciate about wrestling is that everybody always thinks to be this top superstar, you have to have a 6-pack of abs, a chest like this, and big arms. And that's a brilliant thing about wrestling. Wrestling is about outsmarting your opponent and getting that 1, 2, 3 in the end. Doesn't matter if you're weighing in 180 kilograms. I take Visa. I've got a lot of respect for him. Big Oak does phenomenal things with the size of his body. And then you got, Oaks that weighs just over 60 kilograms or so. So it doesn't matter in regards to your body shape, but it's what goes up here and what's in my heart in the end of the day.
And of course, styles make matches. The age-old saying, styles make matches. Sure. You got a guy like Matthew against a big guy like yourself, it's going to make a match. There's a story that can be told there. The underdog has to beat the bigger guy. And like we said, stories make wrestling at the end of the day. So that's some good stuff going on there in HWA.
Yeah, Antonine and Palabora, Ripper was wrestling against Matt Hammer. Everybody thought that the Ripper is going to go over and, he's going to have an easy win against Matthew Hammer. And phenomenally, Matthew Hammer went over twice. He actually beat the Ripper twice. And, the Ripper is a more hardcore character, but it's a more powerful character, where Matthew Hammer is a fast wrestler with a lot of technical and high-flying moves. And at the end of the day, depending on who uses their skills the most, that's the person that's going to get their hand raised for 1, 2, 3.
Another question I have, so obviously the winner, like we've said a couple times, I'm just reiterating, the winner of this tournament gets a title shot at either your title or the other titles. Does this title shot happen this weekend, or is that at a later stage? Or not this weekend, the Rancho weekend, sorry.
What we're going to do is that title shot would be on the Sunday.
Okay.
Sunday evening show, which is normally one of our highlight or our top viewed shows at the Rand East show. The Rand Easter starts on the 1st to the 6th. Then it's a Friday, Saturday, and the finals will be on the Sunday afternoon. And he can then choose if he wants to wrestle against either the South African champion, Azazel, or against the world champion, myself, Steve Eden, that evening. It's normally the show that draws the biggest crowd at the Rand show. And then the next day, on the Monday, we're doing a couple of general matches where we're just entertaining the crowd, because then normally it fades out on the Monday.
I like that. And of course, champion's advantage. The challenger has to face the champion after going through matches upon matches to get his shot.
Yeah.
So champion's advantage at the end of the day.
This is pretty much where I will be in action and Azazel will be in action. It's not like we're going to sit around and just wait for a title match. It will be dumb of me to sit around for 3 days waiting for him. And by the time I have to wrestle him, I'm going to be so tired and stiff. So I'll rather have 1 or 2 matches in between, get the body nice and loose, and I'll actually prefer if a person can challenge myself and I can retain my title.
Okay, I see, Michael, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, that's something I was actually going to say, Ricardo. Is I think what a lot of people don't understand about what this tournament requires is that this is the ultimate test of endurance in South African wrestling. Like Steve said, this isn't one of those things where the champion is sitting in the locker room, eating Pringles, waiting for his match on Sunday. The competitors and the champions are in the tournament during that time, and it's not like you're walking into a main event match that you're training for a month. You've got to go through 3 or 4 of the most tough competitors in South African wrestlers of different styles, of differing match qualities. If you're in a match with the Ripper, that match could be as short as 5 minutes, but in those 5 minutes, you will take the most incredible damage and the most incredible pain you've ever had in your entire life. If you're wrestling against Matthew Hamill, that guy can go for 60 minutes. And you still have to have, arguably for a lot of wrestlers, the biggest match of your entire career in a championship match on the Sunday of the Rand show, which, like Steve said, that draws our biggest gate. That's our Sam Muchnick in the Garden. So it's a mental thing as much as it is a physical thing to make it through the tournament and get to the finals. The best way I can describe it is, imagine you run the Comrades, and then after that, you have a 2-hour CrossFit session. It's insane. And I really wish the men who are competing in this tournament all the best, because honestly, I'm tired just talking about it.
Michael, I know you training, doing the wrestling training stuff. Will we see, I know you're announcing, but will we see you in a match?
I have been given strict instructions to remain on the mic and do my job as diligently as possible. Unfortunately, we do have some very mouthy individuals who take umbrage with the way in which I commentate and announce. But I do like to get paid by Mr. Steve Eden, so I am going to continue to do my job diligently. But, if someone gets an arm drag or a stunner at some point after their match is done, I can't be held responsible for that. They're out of the tournament.
Okay. It's a long weekend, so anything can happen. Anything can happen.
I've been told not to commit any sort of actions against people in the tournament. Notice I said.
Oh, I see.
Just saying.
So, from what I gather, even if you you win the tournament, and you unfortunately don't beat Steve Eden for the title, I think it's still a huge honor that you've actually gone through all those matches and won this tournament. And
just remember what's saying. There's still a title linked to that, the King of Africa.
Exactly.
And it's not in everybody's armor and wrestling skill to become the top wrestler in Africa. We do have myself as world champion and Zazel who is the SA champion. But in the end, to become the King of Africa, you still have to wrestle the best of the best.
For sure. Look, guys, it's been a great interview. I really appreciate you guys joining me in this and us getting to just chat a bit of wrestling, chat about the Rand show, chat about your accomplishments, and I really appreciate it. Thanks for joining me.
100%. Ricardo, just something quickly before we
go for it.
Leave and so on. Is we shouldn't forget about the promo competition that we're going to be having. You will remember, and that's how Michael Lawrence Potter and Donovan Black got into the wrestling, as they actually won the first competition that HWA Honor Wrestling had in the promo competition. They were both combined winners, and we're actually going to have a competition running via Facebook, social media, and live at the venue at the Rand show, where we're going to have people coming in and we're going to give them a chance to do a 1 or 2 minute promo. And we're going to choose 1 or 2 guys from there, and we're going to bring them through to HWA and give them the opportunity to start getting involved in HWA Honor Wrestling Association.
Okay, so where can they send these promos? Because you said obviously on Facebook and stuff as well. Where can they send this?
What we're going to do is they can send us a WhatsApp. WhatsApp number is 060-585-0581. So they can send me a WhatsApp. That will come through directly to myself, for Steve Eden. Those promos will be being put through to our management team. We've got a selected panel of 8 people that will sit and select the top promos from there. And then as I said, at the Rand show as well, we actually, on the shows, it's going to be Michael Lawrence Potter's, MRP's job to get these people in the ring and people at the venue into the ring. And we're going to do 4 or 5 promos per show that we're going to have. and we can choose a top of a top and let him compete. And you know what? I think we must link a cash prize to that. I think we will sit this weekend. We'll sit down and work out a budget in regards to that, and maybe offer them some sort of package in regards to that.
That sounds good. I think that'll give extra incentive for people to want to try and show off their promo skills if they have any.
Yeah,
absolutely. And let it be known that if you do a good enough promo, you might end up working for the HWA or a wrestling promotion like I did. So if I may, Ricardo, for those of you who think you've got the chops to pick up a mic and cut a scathing promo, or to put yourself over, or if you think you're really talented, I could give you a random topic like mayonnaise, and you have to make sure that you can construct a compelling and thought-provoking promo based on that. So I'm going to give a quick 5-second masterclass on how to cut a promo. Show me the money. Why is anybody going to care about what it is you're promoting, who you are, or what it is you're trying to say? The second thing is, tell us who you are. The third thing is, if you're cutting a promo on somebody else, tell them who that person is and why it's important that you kick their ass or smack them around a little bit. So I am very excited for all of you who think that you're the next Mick Foley or the next Ric Flair to get on the mic, and we'll see you there.